One. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. We are here today with Michael Garrity, who is the sales engineer for CyberQP. Hello, Michael. How are you today?
Good, Scott. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we are excited to learn about CyberQP and how they can help MSPs manage permissions and access and all kind of other goodies. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, where are you located at?
I'm over in Derby, Connecticut. It is right outside of New Haven, is an area a lot of people might be familiar with.
Okay. Yeah, it's a beautiful place over there, but I think it's cold, right?
Yeah. Right now, I think it's just about 50 degrees. So warm season's over.
That's right. Well, we actually had our first annual ITBOG member cruise this past weekend, and we were in the Bahamas. So I actually got to swim in the ocean, and I wasn't freezing to death. It was really nice, and I felt bad for everybody that were dealing with the cooler temperatures already. So, but then I got back into South Carolina, and the reality hit me that it's a little cooler. So, well, good deal. Well, Michael, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you and let you tell us all about CyberQP. What is CyberQP?
Sure. Yeah. So before we hop into demos or anything, for anyone that isn't aware, so CyberQP is a cybersecurity company geared towards MSPs. We have essentially two product offerings. One is more about securing your help desk. We have things like end user identity verification and some tools that could help reduce the amount of time it takes to solve some tier one tickets. And then the second product is geared toward more towards privileged access management. So
Okay.
password rotations, our newest features like just-in-time account rotations, things of that nature.
Okay. That sounds interesting. Just in time account rotations. Perfect. So, not just about PAM, privileged
Yep.
access management. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So here, why don't we hop in and take a look at one or both of them,
Okay.
I should say. So here, let me share out. All right, so just for some context here, what you see on the left-hand side is I'm casting my iPhone. So throughout the demo, this is what the end user would see on their end. And on
Okay.
the right-hand side is the CyberQP portal. This is what the MSP would work out of.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So as I had mentioned, we are MSP centric. So here we have a multi-tenanted customer list. You could pull this customer list in from things like a PSA or a documentation system. So we have integrations into ConnectWise Manage as well as Autotask PSA. And then on the documentation side, we have integrations with IT Glue as well as Hoodoo. And as we're going through the demo, I'll kind of show how or explain how we interact with them.
Okay. Very nice.
But what I always like to start with is the identity verification piece. So after the MGM breach a handful of weeks ago, it's been really top of mind for everyone on how to secure your help desk. And where I like to start is actually inside of the PSA. So you could do everything inside of our portal, but as most MSPs are working out inside of their PSA, I'd mentioned we have the integrations here. So on the on the right-hand side, we actually have this pod here. Looks exactly the same for Autotask. Just so happens this demo environment is set up inside of ConnectWise.
Okay.
So let's go through a scenario here. We have this ticket. MSP might get, hey, I have, this user, it's unable to log in. I'm receiving incorrect password when attempting to log into Windows. Sure, MSPs see this all the time.
Hmm.
So now one of the first things they're going to do is verify this user's identity. Now, this right-hand pod, this shows up for every ticket type. It's not just password resets or account locks. So you could verify anyone calling in for anything. But in my case, what I'm going to do is click identity verification. Then we have two options. I could add in this verification code, or I could just send this through. I'll go through both quickly. So once I click send, oh, it looks like I actually got logged out because I was waiting too long here. Give me 1 second to just
Yeah, no
refresh my
worries. No
page.
worries. Well, that's good that it logs you out, though. I mean, that's another layer of security there.
Yeah, exactly. So after a certain amount of time of inactivity, we're going to log you out. In this way, you're not having a stale session there.
Okay.
Bear with me, I just paused the screen share so you don't have to watch me toggle everything around here. All right, so let's try this again. Make sure my mobile device is also up. Identity verification. I'm going to click send. And then on the left-hand side, you'll notice I got this pop-up. And if I use my face to actually show it, it says verify your identity. You go into the app, it uses biometrics to unlock the user. Gotta look at my phone. And then from here, the end user has this prompt. It says verify your identity. They click approve. And then on the technician side as well, you'll see you could continue with the support session. So within a matter of seconds, outside of my little logout issue, the MSP is now able to verify an end user.
Okay.
Now,
Perfect.
they could add on an extra layer of security. That's this code I was talking about before. So if I go ahead and resend that through again, we'll get the same thing. But now after I click approve, there's a 6-digit code. This way, if the end user has like MFA fatigue where anything they get, they're just clicking accept, 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 accept. Well, now you have this extra layer of security where they read off this code 172058, technician, make sure it matches. They know it's actually that person.
Very nice. Yeah, that would have stopped the MGM breach, right?
Yeah, exactly. Something that simple with a matter of a few seconds could have pretty much prevented that social engineering attempt.
Because it uses biometrics of the phone.
Yep. Yeah, after you're actually logged in as well. Now, a question we get a lot is, hey, well, my end users are really resistant to apps. They don't like putting mobile apps on personal devices. Companies not paying for their phone. We get things like that a lot. So this same functionality, if the end user doesn't have the app installed, when I were to click identity verification, I'd have the option to send it via SMS.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and this way, as long as you have a phone number on file, you're able to get that verification. In that case, of course, it's not going to be a push or anything. It's just going to be that 6-digit code. But, being able to have a 6-digit code is better than no verification at all in my eyes.
Okay. Just so I'm clear, the mobile app that you're showing on the left-hand side here is what the end user would actually have on their phone and basically use biometrics to validate that they are legitimate. It's a legitimate request into the help desk.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Very nice.
Yeah. And now, after the user is identified, remember the reason this ticket was opened is because they couldn't get in. They weren't able to access with their password. So now, right through the integration, the MSP could reset the password. So what happens is we integrate with Active Directory on-prem, local Windows accounts, as well as Microsoft 365. So we have an agent that's deployed on the domain controller, and that's how this user list was actually populated and pulled into our system. So now the MSP is ready to reset the password. When they click this reset password button, it's communicating with the agent that we have installed on the domain controller or the 365 enterprise app. And then right from here, we could generate a new password. You're probably not going to give something like this to an end user. Not trying to read that off over the phone. So more than likely what an MSP would be using is a passphrase. And then we have this temporary checkbox up here so that the next time the user logs in with this password, it's going to prompt them to set a new one.
I gotcha. Okay.
Then
Very
you just
nice.
play with this, click a few until you want maybe something a little easier to read off. But just as easy as that, right? The password's reset. They could also do account unlocks if it was locked. In my case, right, mine's not. So I'm going to get this error here. Now, this is all about the MSP efficiency, right? So we verified the identity, and now in a click of like 3 buttons, they were able to reset a password. And I can't talk. As efficient as that is, what we're really trying to do is get rid of these types of tickets altogether.
Okay.
So if I go back to the mobile app here, right, you'll notice right at the bottom, there's a reset password option. So now instead of the end user actually have to call into the MSP or open a ticket right from the mobile app, they could go ahead and reset their password. And then you'll see there's a password policy here. So this is actually pulling in from Active Directory or 365, depending what's set up. And then again, right from here, they could enter a new password. So if I want to go ahead and type this is my password, put a few characters in there, make it look something good. Then they reset. And within a matter of seconds, right, password's been updated, and now they could log in.
Very nice.
Now, if the account was locked, there would also be an additional button on top of where it says reset password where they could unlock the account as well. So maybe they know their password, but the caps lock was on and they realized it after the fact. Again, they don't have to call into the MSP's help desk. They could do that all themselves.
Awesome.
Now, I know we went through quickly, but that's really as easy as so this product that we were looking at was called QDesk. That is all the help desk side. And then the QGuard one is the one that's more about the privileged access management.
Okay.
So here, we'll actually switch over and start looking at the other one. Again, got to log back in here. Let me get in. Dun-dun. I should probably mention, if I didn't already, all those same actions that we were performing inside of the ticket. If there's an MSP out there who's not using ConnectWise or Autotask, that could all be done right within our portal. So again, here, if you want to go and verify an identity, disable or unlock an account, all that same type of functionality is available inside of our portal.
A lot of shortcuts right from the portal.
Yep. Now here, let me actually blow this window up since we're done with the mobile side. So on the left-hand side, this is where you're navigating around. The end user accounts is the QDesk portion that we were just looking at, and the QGuard is the administrative account, just-in-time account, and service account section.
Got it.
So where we'll start off is with administrator accounts. So the first part we're going to want to talk about is account discovery. So we're able to discover both during onboarding as well as on an ongoing basis privileged accounts, and you'll set that up by security group. So if you said, hey, any domain admin in the environment, just as an example, I want to pull into CyberQP, we'd be able to do that. And then we'd also keep an eye on that group. So, even after you're onboarded, if someone were to add that type of account, we're going to pull it in here. Okay. Best example I like to give is, Scott, let's say your account gets compromised in your environment, right? You get phished and all of a sudden the hacker has access to your account. Normally, one of the first things he's going to do is probably going to try and create his own admin. This way, when you realize and lock him out, he still has that back door in there. So now if it were a case where he created a domain admin and that's one of the account types you're watching here, well, now the MSP is going to get a notification as soon as that account's discovered, and this way they have that visibility.
One step closer to getting the bad guys out.
Yeah, exactly. Also good for onboarding new clients, right? You get a new client, whether you're taking it over from another MSP or, they're just brand net new to the MSP. If you're not sure what type of administrative privileges exist in that environment, right? What type of local admins might be out there, how many domain admins, how many, 365 global admins or other types. So now with a tool like this, you could easily just set all those security groups you'd like, and then we're going to be able to pull in and discover those accounts. And then from there, you could lock them down via other means, whether it's disabling the account or removing a privilege, something along those lines.
Nice. So it integrates with the Office 365 tenants of the clients as well, so that it will go in and look for those, global administrator rights on certain end users.
Yep.
Mailboxes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for example, if I was to go to our automatic discovery, went to 365, okay. Right on this next page here, here's a list of all of those roles inside of 365, and then you just select which ones you want to be monitoring.
Okay. Very nice. That's a lot.
Yeah. Right. So jumping back in here. So one of the primary uses outside of the discovery is password rotation in this tool. So here you could set up a schedule on how often you'd like password rotations to happen. And this is set at a customer level, right? So if you have customers in different time zones or want them rotated at different times or frequencies, you have the ability to do so. And then similar to the password reset that we saw inside of the PSA, same type of settings here, where if you wanted a long, complex password or just a passphrase, you have the options to do so.
Nice.
Now, the password rotation is where we get into the integrations with the documentation systems. As I had mentioned previously, we have integrations with IT Glue and Hoodoo. Just so happens this environment is set up with IT Glue. You'll see that indicated by this integrations icon and then the little IT Glue logo there. If I were to go and click ITG details, it gives me some basic information from IT Glue, but also right from our system, this is a hyperlink where if I click it, brings us into the password entry for that user.
Okay.
Now, in my case, I was just doing another demo earlier, so you see this was changed 3 hours ago, but otherwise it would follow that schedule that we had set.
Okay.
But there's also circumstances where you need to rotate outside of that. So let's say we thought one of these accounts in this customer's environment may have been breached, and maybe we want to do a password rotation just to make sure. Maybe we let a technician go, thinks he might have written some of these down, right? So we'll do a select all for this customer. We'll click rotate now. Up top, you'll see password rotation job submitted. And if I go back to IT Glue over here, give it a quick refresh or two. Usually within a minute or so, you'll see this change. And then also you'll get all the revisions as part of IT Glue in the lower right-hand corner here.
Okay.
Give it a refresh. And there we go. Was that probably about 30 seconds a minute? And now here we have,
I think it was about less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Right. And it goes in a certain order too, right? So it was probably processing all the other ones first as it's in order. But yeah, so just like that, keep in mind that was all of the accounts for this client, and this was just 25 there. So right within 30 seconds, we had about all those probably rotated.
That's fast.
Yep. Now here, if you want to lock one of these accounts out as well, right? Maybe you're like, hey, this guy definitely got phished, and we're just looking to lock this account down. You can go ahead and disable it or block sign in from 365 while you do investigations or whatever else you need to.
Okay.
Now, in addition to administrative accounts, we also have service accounts. So if you have any type of account that runs a Windows service or even a scheduled task, we have a separate section for those. Reason being is that we have the ability to restart the service afterwards, and this way we're not breaking it. So a lot of times I've heard, hey, I have a PAM solution that's pretty much just the equivalent of the administrative ones, and they have all their accounts loaded and service accounts in there. But anytime they do a rotation, it breaks everything because they don't have that feature of restarting the service as well. So we have that added in here.
Okay.
Now, these have a separate rotation setting as well. So maybe you want your service accounts to be this long 99 complex passphrase because you're never really logging in with them or anything like that. You could do so, or maybe you only want to set this to once a week instead of every day. Again, you have that flexibility here.
Okay.
Now, CyberQP's newest feature is the just-in-time accounts here. So this is good for a variety of reasons. One is that it helps each technician get a named account. So that's becoming bigger and bigger in the space for compliances, for cyber insurance requirements. A lot of MSPs are still in a place where all of their technicians are sharing a single, let's say, domain admin for a client. So they're all using that same set of credentials. With that, you're kind of lacking accountability, right? You're not sure really who's doing what. Sure. Some folks are like, all right, well, inside of IT Glue, I could see who's accessing the password, and I kind of do an audit by who is using that. And yeah, it works, but it's messy, right? If you have a named account per technician, it's very clear on who's doing what. But then the second thing that we offer with just-in-time accounts is the concept of zero standing privilege. So zero standing privilege means that when an account's not in use, it's deactivated. So as an example, if we had this account, let's say I was creating a new one, right? It's pre-populated with my username _ JIT for just in time. And then we set a duration of how long we want this active. If I'm doing a quick task like setting up a new user in Active Directory, or maybe I'm creating a file share, probably don't need this thing active for 3 days. It's probably going to be about an hour or less. Yep. The reason, you could put the actual reason, creating new user, but generally you're probably going to have a ticket for this type of task. So it would be ticket 123 from your PSA. then where you want this type of just-in-time account created. So we have support for Active Directory, 365, as well as local accounts. For this example, let's just talk Active Directory. Then we have a list of privileged security groups down here. So this is what the MSP tenant owner of CyberQP will set up. So Scott, if you're the owner of your organization and you say, hey, I don't want my techs having access to domain admin when they're creating this just-in-time account, you could have this removed from this menu. Or if there's something that you did want added that's missing here, you could have that added in as well.
Okay, so completely customizable.
Yep. Yeah. And then you can even select which type of users inside of your organization should have this. A lot of times MSPs like, hey, my tier ones, they don't even log into customer environments. Everything they do is through some kind of tool, right? Like we're looking at a tool here, right? Like, with this, tier one doesn't need access to log into a client environment. They're doing everything through button presses and integrations. Could be the same concept here where, hey, I don't want my level ones having access to this. Maybe you only want your level twos or level threes. Fully customizable there.
Very nice.
Then you'd select the privileged security group, you click create account, and now mine's going to error out because I already have an account created. So you don't want your technicians having a million different just-in-time accounts for a single customer, so they get one per customer.
Gotcha.
But in my case, here's that one that I already had created, and it's in a disabled state because I had done this demo a million times before. Now, after that account was disabled, two things are going to happen. One is that the password is going to be rotated when it's disabled, and that account's also being removed from the domain admin security group. So adding that extra layer of security there.
Nice.
Now, when the technician's ready to use this again, since they've created it once, it's just a matter of going in, re-enabling it, and setting another time frame. Right. So, a few days pass, we haven't been in this client, and then we're removing that attack surface because the account's disabled. Now, all of a sudden, we get another ticket in for this client. This time it is ticket 234, right? Going from 123 to 234. This guy's getting in a ton of tickets in their environment. But then after that, you just enable it. Then here you have your credentials you can access. We also have a desktop app. I may have been logged out, and it's probably gonna, if I try and go in, I think it expired. Nope. But yeah, and here we also have access to that just-in-time account. So you could work out of the browser or through our desktop app. And here's those credentials that you have just created.
And so the CyberQP agent that sits on the, I'm just think Active Directory or local account for even that matter. If it was a local account, it would even have access system privileges to go in and create an administrator account just for the time period that is needed to complete the task on the MSP's behalf.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So similar to what you're saying, right? If we were looking to do it for a local account, see, these are all the systems that I have an agent installed on.
Okay.
And then from there, I'll just select that machine. And then similarly here, right, we have those basic, built-in Windows privileges. I have mine set to Dusty's 3 or 4, or that 4. But yeah, right, if you only want to give them maybe Hyper-V admin access or something like that, you could do so.
Very cool.
And then once the account's re-enabled, I think I skipped that part, that password's rotated again. So you are getting rotations in there. So you don't have those stale passwords. And again, this way, just helping with that attack surface.
Very nice.
Let's see, anything I forgot to cover? No, I think that was about it, actually.
Okay, awesome. Well, Michael, I do have one very important question for you. If we have members, ITBOG members, who are watching this event today, this demo with CyberQP, and they are interested in taking it to the next step, what is the best way that they can do that?
Yeah, great question. So we do have this URL, which we'll include. So if you go to go.cyberqp.com/ITBOG, from there, you'll get to the landing page. You could book a demo. I know we went through everything a little quick here, but we could really work with one of our account executives to walk through the process, what's specific to, each MSP's organization. If they're looking to see the Autotask integration, or if they don't have IT glue, we can show them what that looks like and go over their specific business needs.
Awesome. So take a deeper dive, if you will, into the demos. Awesome. Well, Michael, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to day to do this brief introduction with us of going over the CyberQP platform and how it can really help MSPs in their day to day environment and workflow. But we'll have to get another one of these scheduled ASAP. And I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, Scott. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Talk with you later.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.